One moment, I'm just waiting for the YouTube. I apologize for that delay.
No
District
problem.
3? District 3? Banning?
District 3 is here, sorry.
Thank you. Banning? Beaumont?
Here.
Calamasa?
Here.
Canyon Lake?
Canyon Lake's here.
Cathedral City?
Here.
Coachella?
Here.
Desert Hot Springs?
Present.
Lake Elsinore? Marietta? Palm Desert? Palm Springs?
Present.
San Jacinto? Riverside?
Present.
Wildemar?
Here.
Thank you. We do have a quorum.
Okay, great. Let's move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand and repeat after me. Actually, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Before we get started, let me read some housekeeping notes. Thank you for participating in our remote meeting. We'll do our best to facilitate a smooth meeting with public participation. Before we begin, I want to review some guidelines and general instructions. Please silence your other communication devices such as your cell or desk phone. This will ensure we're not hearing any feedback or causing interruption during the meeting. After each agenda item, I'll announce public comment. For those of you on Zoom, if you'd like to make public comment on the Zoom screen, please click on the raise hand button. If you're using Zoom on your smartphone, tap your screen, look for the more option, and then the raise hand button on the screen. For those of you calling in on the phone line only, you can dial *9 on your keypad to signal that you'd like to comment. Okay, so we'll move on to, we did have a revision to the agenda. We're going to move item 6C to be the first discussion item. So the consent calendar consists of only items 6A and 6B. Before we take a vote, is there any commissioners who'd like to have one of the items pulled for discussion? And with that, I will accept a motion.
Move to item 6A and 6B.
Second, Calamasa.
Thank you. For a roll call, please.
District 3?
Yes.
Beaumont?
Yes.
Calamasa?
Yes.
Canyon Lake?
Aye.
Cathedral City?
Yes.
Coachella?
Yes.
Desert Hot Springs?
Aye.
Palm Desert? Palm Springs?
Aye.
San Jacinto? Riverside? Riverside?
Muted. Aye.
Thank you. Wildemar?
Aye.
Thank you. 6A and 6B pass.
Okay, we'll move on to item 6C, and we will hear a report from Beatrice Megadichian.
Good morning. Are you able to hear me well?
Yes.
Perfect. I'm Beatrice Megadichian, Management Analyst with Multimodal. I'll provide a brief overview of the Title VI program update. RCTC, as a recipient of Federal Transit Administration funds, is required to comply with FTA Title VI requirements. The Commission receives FTA funds for ramp pool, station maintenance, and capital projects, as well as Metrolink capital. FTA funds were also utilized for the development of various RCTC-owned Metrolink stations. Title VI protects community members from discrimination based on race, color, or national origin in any program or activity receiving federal funds. The Title VI program report is submitted to FTA every 3 years to demonstrate Commission's compliance. The last report was updated and submitted in 2019. RCTC has updated its Title VI program to reflect changes made since the 2019 report. Since then, there have not been any significant reportable changes related to transit projects. We have taken this opportunity to refresh and update the public participation plan with new and expanded public engagement strategies, and updated the language assistant plan with new data to ensure meaningful access. There is no financial impact to the Commission's budget with the adoption of this program. Once adopted by the committee and the Commission, staff will submit the program to FTA. It's recommended that the committee approve the 2022 Title VI program report, including the public participation plan and language assistance plan, in compliance with Federal Transit Administration requirements, and forward to the Commission for final action. That concludes my report. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the public?
I am not seeing any hands raised.
Okay, and are there any commissioners who wish to speak on item 6C before we take a vote? I'm not seeing any hands raised.
Neither am I.
So at this point, I'll take a motion, please.
Callamasa approves.
Cathedral City, second.
Roll call.
District 3,
Yes.
Beaumont,
Yes.
Calamasa,
Yes.
Canyon Lake,
Aye.
Cathedral City,
Yes.
Coachella,
Yes.
Desert Hot Springs,
Aye.
Palm Springs,
Aye.
Riverside,
Aye.
Wildemar.
Aye.
Thank you. 6C passes.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 7, right-of-way policies and procedures manual. And we have a report from Hector Casillas.
Yes, good morning, Chair White and committee members. I'm Hector Casillas and I'm RCTC's right-of-way manager. Today, I'll be presenting the item related to the updated RCTC RCA right-of-way policies and procedures manual. It has been just over a year since the Commission assumed management responsibilities of RCA. And prior to this, each agency followed its own policies and procedures. For the Commission, this was referred to as the right-of-way policies and procedures manual. And for RCA, it was referred to as the land acquisition policies. This item is another element of fulfilling the objectives with the agency consolidation between RCTC and RCA. Next slide, please, Philip. Okay, this manual has changed over time and has been adopted 3 separate times by the Commission's governing board. This slide shows the dates for those adoptions. And as you'll note, changes were made to the full manual adoption, and one was a change to a particular section, which was our relocation assistance section in Chapter 7. The manual follows the Caltrans right-of-way manual, and it complies with FHWA and STA policies and procedures. Next slide, please, Philip. Similar to the Commission, the RCA policies have been adopted by its governing board as well. RCA set of policies were adopted a total of 12 times, and this slide provides the dates for those adoptions. The policies comply and are consistent with the Multiple Species Habitat Conservation Plan, or MSHCP for short. I would like to note that the RCA Board of Directors recently adopted the updated manual at its January 10th, 2022 meeting. Next slide, please, Philip. The staff, legal counsel, and RCTC's right-of-way consultant, Epic Land Solutions, who's here today in the audience, have been working on the updated policies and procedures manual for a little over a year now. We've taken both agencies' policies and procedures into account to develop the newly updated and combined RCTC RCA right-of-way policies and procedures manual that will serve both agencies. The updated version had various changes, and a brief summary of those changes is shown in this slide. In addition, staff included a copy of the red line version in the staff report to identify exactly where the changes were made. Next slide, please. Okay, so what's in the updated version of the RCTC and RCA right-of-way policies and procedures manual? Well, there are 13 chapters, and all of them, except for chapter 13, applies to the Commission's right-of-way work for transportation projects. Even though you'll see that the policies throughout the chapters do apply to RCA, Chapter 13 is also very, very specific to RCA projects that comply with the MSHCP. There are 5 changes to the Commission's projects I would like to highlight. The first is an FTA circular update regarding appraisal concurrence limits. And in Chapter 6 of this manual, the limit was updated to comply with the updated FTA circular that pertains to obtaining appraisal concurrence from FTA. The limit was increased from $500,000 to $1 million as the threshold for staff needing approval from FTA on FTA-funded projects. The second is tax sale property process. Again, in the same chapter, Chapter 6 of the manual, staff has acquired properties from the list of tax defaulted properties and felt it was important to outline the steps for both Commission and RCA properties that may be acquired through this lengthy process. The third, declaration of surplus property, is in Chapter 8 of the manual, and an update pertaining to declaring property surplus was necessary to comply with the Surplus Land Act and processes to the manual that have been updated using guidelines provided by the Department of Housing and Community Development. The fourth, sale of surplus property, again in Chapter 8, are changes to the Executive Director's authority to approve sales less than $100,000 and when the bid is 90% or greater than the appraised value was added. This will expedite the sale of property and allow staff to proceed with a sale on those smaller properties. And lastly, property management. In Chapter 8, we made updates to accept electronic submittals and documents pertaining to right of entries or license agreements instead of paper copies like in our previous version. Next slide, please, Philip. Okay, now that the RCA board has adopted the updated manual at its January 10th meeting, the approvals that remain are with the committee and the Commission's board. Staff is requesting the committee to adopt and forward this item to the Commission for final approval. And the intention is to obtain a full manual adoption at its Commission February 9th, 2022 meeting. And as mentioned in the staff report, these policies and procedures ensure that real estate matters using public funds are conducted in a professional, ethical, and consistent manner that protects both agencies. And next slide, please, Flip. Okay, I welcome any feedback and that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for the report. Commissioner Gregory, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Casillas, for the presentation and for all the work that went into this. This is quite a lengthy document, so I know it had to be a lot of work. So I do have a question, though. As I was going through, I did notice one thing. It has to do with Chapter 8, where you've mentioned there were quite a number of changes in there, a lot having to do with Surplus Land Act. So, and I certainly do see that there's a lot more verbiage and direction, especially when it comes to housing projects. But if I could direct your attention to the new section 8.7.4.6, which I have on the packet page 554, if you're looking at the PDF, or if you're looking at the page number at the bottom, it's page 535.
Okay.
And I'll wait, Mr. Casillas, till you have it.
And sorry, can you repeat the section one more time? 8.7.
It'll be the new section 8.7.4.6.
Okay, I'm there.
All right, so that has to do with the notice that goes, the new section also expands on a little bit on the good faith negotiation. So the old section, of course, has been expanded, as you have mentioned, probably in a large part from the Surplus Land Act, and has a much more extensive discussion about how notice will be given and land can be used for housing, some for redevelopment. But I want to concentrate on a change that has to do with Parks and Recreation. So the old section before talked about any city or county park or recreation department, any regional park authority, and the state resources agency would all get notice, and we would be able to use or to at least enter into the process for possibly getting a surplus land for use for parks and recreation. So that appears to be broken out now, starting kind of in that section, subsection 3. So it says a commission's Park, or Recreation Department. I'm not sure what that is, if the commission has one. But then the next section goes County Parks or Recreation, and then it goes Regional Park Authority, and then it goes State Resources Agency. It appears cities have been taken out. Is there some reason why cities are not any longer one of the entities that could possibly work with the commission to purchase surplus lands for use for parks and recreation?
I believe city would be included if you're looking at section 1, any public entity, but it has to be defined as part of the health and safety code.
For housing, I'm talking about parks and recreation.
Okay, so we took a look at this law and we made changes accordingly. So if the law didn't apply to the city, then we had to remove it in order to comply with the new law that became effective January 1st of 2021.
So that had to do with the housing. That appears to me, if I had to guess, I would say section 3, where it says a commission, parks or recreation department, it was meant to be city. But somehow the word commission got in there and cities got left out. So that it just appears to be a clerical error, but it could be important because these are who would receive notice of surplus lands and what types of uses they could go for.
And I see that legal counsel has a comment, so maybe Haviva can clarify.
I was going to suggest the same thing. My guess is that commission, that's a clerical error. I believe it was probably supposed to say city, but we can definitely verify that.
Okay, that was my only question because I didn't understand. I mean, it does actually expand where cities are involved with housing. It actually expands where cities are involved with redevelopment agencies, even though we don't have them anymore. But somehow it took cities out for consideration for parks and recreation. And it appeared like it might just be an error, but I wanted to make sure.
Okay.
And maybe ask it to be fixed.
We will verify that and make a correction before it comes to the commission. If for some reason it's accurate as stated, we'll also clarify that as well. So we will follow up and have either an explanation or clarification at the commission meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Great catch. Okay, is there anyone else who has questions or comments? I'm not seeing any hands raised. So we'll go ahead and take a motion. I will move to approve with the correction just discussed.
Springs. Mr. Chair, is there actually a correction? Or are we voting on it with the understanding that it's a recommendation to go forward? And if a correction is needed at that time, we would do so.
Right, I will restate my motion. The motion is to approve it based on Ann's follow-up on this item.
Second.
A roll call, please.
District 3,
Yes.
Beaumont,
Yes.
Calamasa,
Yes.
Canyon Lake,
Aye.
Cathedral City,
Yes.
Coachella,
Yes.
Desert Hot Springs,
Aye.
Palm Springs,
Aye.
Riverside,
Aye.
Wildemar.
Aye.
Thank you. That item passes.
And we'll move on to item number 8, state and federal legislative update from report from David Knutson, please.
Yes, good morning, Chair and committee members. I'm pleased to be with you this morning. Today, I will provide you with an update on state and federal legislative activities. I will begin with the state update. As I mentioned to the commission just over a week ago, Governor Newsom submitted his 2022-23 budget proposal to the legislature on January 10th. Dubbed the California Blueprint, this $286.4 billion budget proposal is the largest budget in state history and includes a $45.7 billion surplus, which could fluctuate over the next few months. The governor is looking to make continued investments in fighting COVID-19, climate change, homelessness, and taking on the cost of living, including in the areas of building more housing and support for small businesses. For transportation, the governor's developed a set of transportation priorities and included them in a 5-year infrastructure plan that coincides with the Federal Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. The state's infrastructure plan includes climate resilience, broadband, housing, clean energy, wildfire protection, drought, and the acceleration for zero emission vehicle transition funding, along with transportation funding. After further review, much of what the governor's proposal is similar to the budget items proposed in the last budget, but were not enacted because of differences between the governor and the legislature. The governor continues to seek funding for the high-speed rail construction in the Central Valley, transit and rail projects to improve connectivity between state and local regional services, funds for transit in Southern California, specifically for the 2028 Olympic Games, active transportation, grade separation projects, climate adaptation, and port infrastructure. The governor is proposing $15 billion for transportation programs and projects that align with the goals identified in the Climate Action Plan for Transportation Infrastructure, CAPTI, which was finalized in 2021 and is intended to implement actions that will reduce vehicle miles traveled. Funding will support projects and programs which include support for climate resiliency, improve rail and transit connectivity, provide safety and accessibility for bicyclists and pedestrians, improve highway rail grade separation and grade crossing improvements, support the development of compact or infill housing, and move the state toward a cleaner transportation technology. The governor is also proposing to forego on a one-time basis the annual inflation adjustment for the per gallon fuel excise tax rate, scheduled to occur on July 1, 2022 as part of SB 1. The intent of this action is to reduce the cost of gasoline for consumers this summer. The administration will also examine the potential to backfill local share of reduced revenues with state highway account funds. The administration has indicated it is not their intent to reduce transportation funds intended for local jurisdictions, but there will continue to be legislative interest and stakeholder discussion on this issue in the future. As you all know, the governor's budget proposal is just a starting point to the budget process. The legislature will have their priorities and proposals to fund, and the legislative affairs team will continue to evaluate the governor's proposal and all other budget items as the legislature begins its work. We'll keep the commission apprised as we learn more. Turning quickly to the federal update, the U.S. Department of Transportation is working on the implementation of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. There are a multitude of changes to existing programs, and as you know, dozens of new programs included in the 5-year authorization. In addition, US DOT expects to begin soliciting proposals for discretionary grant programs in the coming months, and staff will examine these solicitations to determine which are appropriate to pursue for federal funding. This concludes my report. I am happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments? I'm not seeing any, so I will entertain a motion on, actually it's receive and file, so we don't need a motion. We'll move on to item 9, which is additional awards fiscal year 2021-22, SB 821 bicycle and pedestrian facilities program funding recommendations. And the report will be from Jenny Chan.
Hi, good morning, commissioners. I'm Jenny Chan with Planning and Programming. Today, I am requesting approval to award additional projects to the SB 821 program for the fiscal year 21-22 cycle. First, some background. SB 821 is a discretionary program administered by the Commission to fund local bicycle and pedestrian projects. The program is funded through the state sales tax, or specifically the Local Transportation Fund, or LTF. Each year, 2% of LTF revenue is set aside for a competitive call for projects. Eligible projects include construction of bicycle lanes, sidewalks, ADA curb ramps, and bike and ped master plans. The Commission conducts a call for projects on every odd numbered year. As such, the last call for project was concluded this past June, where the Commission awarded 15 projects totaling $4.3 million. Only projects scoring 40 or above were awarded. Since the initial award, the Commission has approved 2 revisions to the fiscal year 21-22 LTF revenue, resulting in additional funding to the program. Coupled with project savings from completed projects, the Commission now has a balance of $1.9 million available. Staff utilized the scores from last year's call for projects and contacted agencies that scored a 39 or 38 to inquire about project priority and status. All agencies express interest in accepting SB 821 funding to deliver the 6 unfunded projects. As such, to deliver more bike and ped projects into the region, staff is recommending awarding SB 821 funding to all 6 projects for a total of approximately $1.66 million, leaving $263,000 in reserve to supplement the next call for projects, which will commence in February 2023. I've prepared a map that shows the commission's investments from last year's award and today's recommendation, which totals to $5.9 million. Today's recommended projects are colored in orange with the previously awarded projects in blue. The full list of projects and their respective scores are provided in attachment 1 of the staff report. And that concludes my presentation, and I can take any questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments on item number 9?
Desert Hot Springs moves. Staff recommendation.
Cathedral City seconds.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
District 3,
Yes.
Beaumont,
Yes.
Helen Mesa,
Yes.
Canyon Lake,
Aye.
Cathedral City,
Yes.
Coachella,
Yes.
Desert Hot Springs,
Aye.
Lake Elsinore,
Aye.
Palm Springs,
Aye.
Riverside,
Aye.
Wildemar.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 9 passes.
Item 10, adoption of resolution number 22004, authorizing the commission to decertify as the local access fund administrator for the Transportation Network Companies Access for All program. Eric DeHate, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair and other committee members. My name is Eric DeHate, and this item for you today is to look at decertifying as the local access fund administrator for the TNC Access for All program. Thank you. Next slide, please. So you've probably heard a little bit of this presentation before multiple times. Just a little bit more background for you. So the intent of the legislation itself under SB 1376 is for California to be a national leader in the development and adoption of on-demand transportation options for people that need wheel access vehicles. And according to the CPUC, persons that require a waive must wait at least an hour longer than a person who does not require a waive using a traditional TNC type service, such as an Uber or Lyft. Traditional demand response requires advanced registration, which is not typically on the same day. And California is also recognizing that it may take some time to develop a better on-demand transportation services that can be used with a platform, online platform. So what is a TNC? So TNC in legislation was defined as an organization that provides prearranged transportation services for compensation using an online application or platform to connect passengers to a personal vehicle. Next slide, please. A little bit more background about the program itself. How is it funded? Each trip on a TNC is charged 10 cents, and that is remitted to the CPUC quarterly. So whenever you get inside an Uber or Lyft and you double check your receipt, you'll see a 10-cent charge on that. Now this generates approximately $225,000 to $230,000 a year for the TNC Access for All program specific for Riverside County. And who administers the program itself? It would be through the CPUC decision-making process. It was determined that MPOs and RTPAs such as RCTC would qualify as access fund administrators for each geographical area, which they defined as a county. And if MPO or RTPA decided not to become or serve as the LAFA, then the CPUC would administer the program for the county. Next slide, please. So why are we here today? In June of 2021, the commission actually adopted resolution 21009 to become the LAFA for Riverside County. However, the CPUC itself has adopted program changes that have impacted the implementation of the program and adding more administrative responsibilities to LAFA. Some of these include extensive outreach, pre and post-award audits, other reporting responsibilities. And when staff was reviewing this, we found that it would likely, the administrative responsibilities would likely exceed the 15% allocation that they set aside for program administration. Staff also thinks the current structure and implementation may not also be a good fit for the public paratransit and specialized services at this time. The program is geared towards service that can provide trips within 24 hours using an online, on-demand scheduling software. As you may be aware, most of the public paratransit and specialized transit services in the county require advanced registration and may not be able to meet the 24-hour service priority. It would be likely that only private transportation carriers would receive the funding. While this isn't a bad thing, the commission currently doesn't have any legal responsibilities to provide oversight to just private agencies. The CPUC has demonstrated that it has more experience in this area as they regulate private transportation carriers, and at this time would be a better fit to oversee this program. Staff also sought some feedback on this program from the commission CSTAC, the Citizens and Specialized Transit Committee. And we also engaged a consultant for some initial outreach to existing Measure A specialized transit program recipients. And also we reached out to private taxi companies to gauge interest of the potential applicants for Riverside County. Based on the complexities of this program, staff is recommending adopting Resolution 22004 for submittal to the CPUC to decertify the commission as the LAFA and request that the CPUC administer the program on behalf of Riverside County. There are no penalties or negative impacts to potential applicants in Riverside County if the commission decides to decertify as the LAFA. The commission would just need to return the funding back to the CPUC that it received for the program. And right now, at this point, staff believes that this is the right time to step back from the program. We haven't done any harm to anybody else by expressing our interests and withdrawing. Public transit operators, specialized transit providers, and private transportation companies can still apply for the funding that's available in this program. And staff will continue to monitor the program. If circumstances become more favorable, then likely I'll come back to the commission for further direction. Next slide, please. So staff is recommending what is shown above and in the staff report, which I'll summarize for you. Adopting Resolution 22004. Approve a budget increase so we can pay the CPUC back. Number 3 is provide authority to complete the paperwork necessary for the commission. And 4, please send to the commission for approval. And with that, the next slide is I'd open it up for any comments or questions you might have.
Thank you. And anybody wish to speak or question or comments on this item? I'm not seeing anything, so I'll entertain a motion, please.
Move approval of staff recommendation, Cathedral City.
Callan Mesa seconds.
A roll call, please.
District 3,
Yes.
Beaumont,
Yes.
Calamasa,
Yes.
Canyon Lake,
Aye.
Cathedral City,
Yes.
Coachella,
Yes.
Desert Hot Springs,
Aye.
Lake Elsinore,
Aye.
Palm Desert,
Yes.
Palm Springs,
Aye.
Riverside,
Aye.
Wildemar.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 10 passes.
Thank you. Item 11 is the election of officers for the Budget Implementation Committee for 2022. And we'll start with any motions for nomination for the chair. I would like to nominate Commissioner Raymond Gregory for the chair position.
Riverside seconds.
And roll call on that, please.
District 3,
Yes.
Beaumont,
Yes.
Calamasa,
Yes.
Canyon Lake,
Yes.
Cathedral City,
My honors, yes.
Coachella,
Yes.
Desert Hot Springs,
Aye.
Lake Elsinore,
Aye.
Palm Desert,
Yes.
Palm Springs,
Aye.
Riverside,
Aye.
Wildemar.
Aye.
Thank you. Congratulations, Chair Gregory.
All right, now do we have any nominations for the vice chair? Anybody want to nominate themselves?
Who wants it? Come on, don't be bashful.
Well, I would like to nominate Jeremy Smith, unless he refuses.
Nope, I'll do it. Thank you, Lloyd. I'll do it.
All right,
Oh, good.
and I need a second.
Second.
I'll second.
And roll call, please.
District 3,
Yes.
Beaumont,
Yes.
Calumet,
Yes.
Canyon Lake,
Yes.
Cathedral City,
Yes.
Coachella,
Yes.
Desert Hot Springs,
Aye.
Lake Elsinore,
Aye.
Palm Desert,
Yes.
Palm Springs,
Aye.
Riverside,
Aye.
Wildemar.
Aye.
Thank you. Congratulations, Vice Chair Smith.
Thank you, and we'll go ahead and move to the executive director's report.
Hey, thank you. Good morning, commissioners. Happy Monday. I would like to take the opportunity this morning to introduce you to our new Chief Financial Officer. So Sergio, if you could come online, there he is. Commissioners, I'd like to introduce Sergio Vidal. Sergio, this is his first day as our new CFO. We're very excited to have him join RCTC. We look forward to you getting to know him. It's an exciting opportunity for us as well as for Sergio joining us from his city experience. And he certainly has a lot of experience in the financial world, soup to nuts, basically. And we're really excited to have him join the RCTC team. So welcome, Sergio. And we look forward to having you as part of our team, and for you to also be able to get to know some of the commissioners. And commissioners, as always, we are available to you if you have any questions on any issues related to the finance world. So welcome, Sergio. That completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Director.
Thank you, and welcome, Sergio. We'll move on to commissioners' comments. Anybody have comments, announcements?
How to get up
Commissioner Condell.
I just want to thank our former chair, Mr. White, for the great job he's done since I've been on this committee. And continue working with you will be an honor, and just thanks for all the hard work you did.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And if I could just join in, and we're so happy to have you on the executive committee now. And I know you're continuing to do great work there, but thank you so much for all that you've done for this committee too.
Thank you. Appreciate that. It's been an interesting 2 years. I don't know that we've had a single meeting in person for this committee, but I've enjoyed my role in it. So with that, if there's no other comments, we'll go ahead and adjourn. And the next meeting will be February 28th, 2022.
Bye. Thank you. Have a good week.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Thank
Thank you, Lloyd.